Hey y'all, this video is going to be a lot different than my normal content. The 10-year anniversary from the April 28th, 2014 tornado that we survived is coming up. Matter of fact, it will be Sunday and you'll see this video Wednesday. This is part of my story. After 10 years, it's still emotional. I did this interview for a local radio station, and I also sat down with the local newspaper with one of my friends to also talk about this remembrance edition. It's still hard. But this is part of my story. And I will go ahead and warn you, there are photos of the aftermath. So be prepared. And if that's not something you want to see or you want to look at, that's okay. We can pick up next week at a normal video. But I wanted to do this just for the remembrance. We lost 10 people in our county that day. And it was very devastating. Our county came together and just rallied around those of us that were hurt or lost. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go through this. This is my radio interview about the tornado. So here it is.
Folks, welcome to the Refuge on Air, the April 28, 2014 Remembrance Edition. And we have heard some amazing stories, and today we've got another amazing story out from Winston County. One of my friends, and I tell you, she's been a supporter of the Extension Office here, me being the county agent, Miss Brenda Gooden, and Clarence bailed on us, her husband. So
I witnessed it. He did. He was here.
He was a little radio and audio file shy on us today, but Miss Brenda's no stranger to radio. She's been on radio with me and always has done a great job. And just real quick, by the way, mentioning cattlemen. First female cattleman president in Winston County history here with us.
How about
today,
that?
So.
That's something to archive. We're archiving several things. Jim, it's been a great pleasure for me to be with you the last few days and doing these, I hate to call them interviews, round table talk of the happenings that happened 10 years ago with the tornado, and we are documenting and archiving these stories that will be in the library. So, folks, I hope you enjoy them. I hope you reminisce. I hope you get thankful in your heart of all the things that could come out of this, good and bad, but lots and lots of good things have happened in the last 10 years. So, Jim, I am excited to have Miss Brenda in here also.
Yeah, Miss Brenda, well, tell us about yourself and what all's got going on in Gooden world.
Well, we are farmers. We have poultry houses and beef cattle, and we've built back after the tornado, so that's kind of our job now, hanging out with you every now and then.
Well, we couldn't do it extension without people like you and you. So where were you at, Brenda, on that fateful day in 2014?
I was at home. I had come home in 2009, so I was helping there on the farm already. So I was at home. We had just got chickens. So our chickens were really young. They were 24 weeks and 4 days old. They had just started laying eggs. I had been talking to different people about the weather that day and decided I wanted to go and pick up the eggs and have all of that finished before the weather came in. while I was picking up, we got about 600 eggs that day. And while I was picking up eggs, Clarence called and said there was a system coming out of Yazoo and Yazoo City, and probably needed to be at home when it came in. It looked pretty rough. So finished up everything and got to the house, and my mom called. She helps at the chicken house and everything, and she was wanting to know when we should go back to the chicken house and finish up. And I told her that I had already been over there, and we wouldn't go back until after the rain had passed, because it was going to be kind of bad storms and different things. I had made the mention to somebody that the air just felt different. About 3 years before the big tornado had come through Netawaya, and that it just kind of felt like that day. So we were all glued to the TV and the Weather Channel and watching the news and phones and different things. And I had put out some alerts to actually some friends in Kosciuszko. There had been an alert that came through earlier. And let's see, the tones dropped. Our fire tones. We're a volunteer fire department. So the tones dropped, and 911 reported that there was a tornado on the ground at Renfro and told the direction it was coming. Well, I'm not very good at direction, so I called Mama back. And
Well, let me straighten out something, Brenda. Let me break in just a second. We're talking about Winston County. We're talking
Yes.
about the tornado in 2014. And you live in the community of...
I live between Indian Springs and Plattsburgh.
Okay, so
So-
the tornado came into Winston County southwest of the county, what we call Four Corners, which is
Yes.
basically the corner, southwest corner of the county, and came all the way through Louisville. So you're in that route. I just want to paint the picture
Yes.
of where Brenda and her family farm is. Okay,
Yes,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm 5 miles from Four Corners.
That's right. And Renfro is just a little south,
Just-
so
yeah.
you knew you were in the
Right.
line.
When I told Mom of the direction that the 911 dispatcher had said, Mama came back with, you know how the university helicopters fly, and they come right over the farm every day. So I said, yeah, and she said, it's coming in our back door. So, like everybody known to man, we ran to the back porch. I was at my house. Mom and Hillary were at their house, and the day was gorgeous. It was sunny. There was a light breeze. I think it was mid to upper 70s. It was just a gorgeous day. Every now and then, while we were on the back porch, it would sprinkle a little bit. Hillary and Mom were on their back porch, and we're close enough
That's
that
what I was
we
just to
could.
ask.
Yeah,
Y'all were
we're
close.
just right next door to each other, so we were kind of yelling back and forth. There's a hill. There was a dark cloud that kind of went behind that hill. Well, when thunderstorms come up, we've seen that thousands of times, so didn't really think anything about it. We didn't know that this tornado was as wide as it was. So, just standing there looking at that dark cloud, something twirled out from it. And that's when I realized I was looking at a tornado, because then I could see that it looked slow motion, that it was just moving.
So many people said that actually saw it. It looked like a huge cloud on the ground. It was so
Yes.
wide that you couldn't get that
Right.
tornado in your mind, where it's a little bitty at the bottom and
that's-
big at the
yeah.
top. So many people have said that it was so wide that it just looked like a cloud, dark cloud all the way to the ground.
And
So-
that's kind of why we had
Yeah.
gone to the back porch, to look for that funnel and the tail and everything. But
wasn't
there was no seeing that. So I called Mom and Hillary, and I said, it's here. Go get in the hall. I had enough to call Clarence. He was on his way home from work, and I told him, I said, stop at Mally's and get in the cooler, because it's here. And he told me, he said, go get in your hallway. Well, anybody that's ever been in my house, I have a big open floor plan, and my hallway is probably 6 foot long. It opens up into my dining room, living room, and it just didn't feel right. So, came through my back doors, stepped right out of my flip-flops. And you have that moment of pause of where do I go? Because the hall just didn't feel right. There was a voice, clear as day. And it said, go get under the desk.
Under the desk in
our bedroom.
In your bedroom, okay.
Clarence had built a solid oak table for his reloading stuff.
Yeah.
And it had taken 3 or 4 guys to even get it into the house, so that thing was solid.
So that voice knew exactly what it was built out of.
So it knew exactly where I needed to go. So grabbed my little dog, and we went through the dining room, living room, and into the bedroom. And, of course, he had a lead sled and 2 weights. So
That's
I had to
right.
get those out, and I went in behind that desk. And about the time I got situated under the desk,
That's when
debris started hitting the house. I heard my
Yeah.
French doors, the glass shattering, and different things. So just in a matter of seconds from seeing it to getting in my space, it was there. There was no sound, and in seeing it.
Right.
Everybody talks about the train or a roar.
Right.
It was quiet. It wasn't... And looking back and doing research, I found that it's the whoop of the tornado that
Right.
makes the sound. So
Right.
looking at it, I didn't have that part of it. So my cousin that lived in La Butcha, he said he could hear the train sound.
Right.
But in a matter of seconds, it was all over. If you have ever listened to NASCAR and the wind tunnel testing, that's a lot of what it sounded like.
So it was just a real strong wind.
It was a real strong wind. I had the back leg of the desk, and when it took the roof, I figured I was gone.
Right.
And the first thing through my head was Clarence is going to have to find me when he gets home.
Right.
There was a lot of loud praying
Yeah.
under that desk. But just as soon as you felt that suck, then it was gone.
Right.
And then it was the quietest. There were no birds. There was just nothing. It was total silence. I could look out from underneath the desk, and it was the prettiest blue sky I had ever seen. My daughter called me, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. My roof is gone."
So go to your mother now. She's just right across the way.
She is. They're just right across the pasture, and
But it was wide enough. I mean, they were okay.
yes, they were fine. They had got into the hallway and under a futon mattress, and it was so big. We were affected landline to landline, which was about 3/4 of a mile.
But they were not where your mother lived.
Yes,
Oh, it
her
was.
house was totally destroyed as well.
Oh, okay.
So when I told Hillary that my roof was gone, Hillary responded back because they had crawled out. Because I just sat under that desk for just a little bit. I didn't even want to open my eyes at first. But Hillary said, "No, everything is gone."
Right.
Well, that just doesn't
But they
sit
were-
very well with you.
Yeah.
But they were alive, though.
They were alive,
Y'all were
so-
corresponding on your phones right then. You did
Yes,
your cell phone.
yes, we were able to get my phone. Of course, I had not charged it, and so it was about to die.
There's a plan.
there is
We
a
talk
plan.
About plans.
Yes,
You need to start,
yes.
always when they say a weather
Yeah.
tornado watch,
Yes,
plug your phone in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Good point.
So, Hillary actually left their house and made it through the pasture to me and helped me out of the house. Mama, right across the road is our chicken houses, and they were gone. And our well was just spewing water. So Mama made her way across the road to shut off the valve if there was anything to shut off. And bless it, our chicken house generator was just a-going.
Just going.
It was trying to do what it was supposed to do.
Well, Brenda has painted a beautiful, not a beautiful, a picture, and used her hands a lot in radio, and we don't do that, but hey, that's fine. She painted a picture. Great first segment. We're right there where the tornado has gone through Brenda's property and Clarence's property out in the Plattsburgh,
Indian Springs, yeah.
Springs area. So, folks, we'll be right back with the second half and about the recovery.
Folks, welcome back to the Refuge on Air, the April 28, 2014 reminiscing edition about the tornado. The 10-year anniversary of it is right upon us here, and Miss Brenda Gooden is with us today. And man, she was sharing. I was sitting here making fists while she was talking that first segment deal, man. And she said she heard that voice, and Clarence made the desk you were in, but I think you heard the voice of the ultimate carpenter telling you to get there.
I believe that too.
That's a good point, Jim. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Don't you know there's probably some tables and chairs he made still around. When God makes something, he probably made it really good. He didn't want to make shortcuts.
I sold a few that I wouldn't want to get under, but Clarence made this one really, really good, and his and her angel or whatever. You had an angel experience. So many people have told us about hearing voices and being led and being convinced to do things that basically save their lives. And that's what Brenda did.
Well, Miss Brenda, I mean, take us from. After you went through the tornado now.
Yes.
After the tornado, what's going on?
We crawled out of nothing. Like I said, Hillary came across the pasture, helped me out. She made the comment. We had been standing in the yard maybe 5 minutes or so, and she made the comment. She's like, "Ooh, that looks nasty." And
now, how old is your daughter now, Hillary?
Hillary is 32
at that
now.
time. So she was 22.
Yeah,
22.
she was 22. And I looked back and did a double take, and the sky was just an awful color. If you've ever had a bruise and it turned that yellowy green, the more you looked at it, the yellow turned a greenish color, and we watched a second tornado just go by, and we just stood there and prayed that it didn't turn because we didn't have anywhere at that point. But it traveled 25 and shortly picked up. But got everything turned off at the chicken house. Mama handled all of that like a champ. She was 77 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So she handled that over there. My cousin called because he had heard it from La Butcha, and he asked if we were okay, and I told him we were fine, but everything was gone. So he said, "Well, we're throwing power saws in the truck, and we're headed your way." Could not get a call out to Clarence to let him know that we were okay. So I can only imagine what was going through his head. Clarence finally got it with Byron, the cousin that was coming from La Butcha, and he said that he was coming to us. So Clarence kind of followed them in.
So they had a hard time getting in, I'm sure.
Yes, yes. Byron and his dad and wife came in from the 25 end. Our road connects from 25 to Plattsburgh Road. So they came in from the 25 end, and at the top of our hill, we have a big hayfield in front of our house. So they cut through what trees they needed to cut through there, and then they came on through the hayfield to us.
What was going through your mind at this time? I encountered people when I was at the hospital. People were like in shock. They were in a daze. What was your mindset like at this time?
Looking back, it was shock. Everything had changed in seconds. Yeah. My friend from the end of the road, I can't remember if I called her or she called me. I was making sure they were okay. And when she said, "Are you okay?" the first thing out of my mouth is, "I don't have any shoes on." So it's pure shock because you say the oddest things. Well, bless her little soul. Yeah. She climbed over trees, and her and her husband made it to me with a pair of shoes that did not fit, but I tied those boats on and I wore them for the next 2 days.
Oh, wow.
But
to women,
yes.
And this is all that was out here, shoes are very important, Jim.
Yes.
They're going to talk shoes, whether they lose everything, they're going to talk shoes. So that's, we're talking to Brenda Gooden from out in the Plattsburgh, Indian Springs area. And so it's rural area. And neighborhoods in town here that were hit. Where I was, we were literally hollering at each other, "You're okay, you're okay." And so it came to that with you guys out there, but you had to go a little ways before you could do that, travel around. So your neighbors started coming. I guess Clarence finally got there.
Clarence
but
finally got there.
doing the best he could. He didn't
Yes.
stop at McDonald's
No,
to eat or anything.
no.
He did the best he could.
He had driven his truck so hard to get home. When he hit the hayfield, I guess the ground was just soft enough that it put more whatever into the truck, and he was almost to the end of the hayfield, and his truck literally just shut down.
His truck went into shock.
Yes, I'm sure it did. So, but yeah, that was one of the best hugs I got that day was
go.
when he got home.
And
but
that's when family
yes,
first, and then kin
Yes.
folks and cousins, and then the neighborhood. So a few days we're running out of time, but we got through this thankfully, and so now we're getting some cleanup and we get some help and family and neighbors coming out. Tell us a little bit about your neighborhood, your community.
we had the best neighbors. Looking at all of the destruction and everything, I was so overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. I could not get into it to even get clothes out of the house or
Right.
whatever that we could find. So I had some of the best friends and family that came and said, you sit here, we will parade whatever we find by you, and you can say, hey, we're keeping it, or no, we're throwing it away.
And this afternoon, it came around 4:15
It was about- yeah.
out your way, 4:30 here in Louisville. So it wasn't too long after that till dark, maybe 7:30 or 8. So you didn't have a whole lot of time. So I'm sure you went to other family members.
We
that spent
did.
the night.
We did. We had family that came from Louisville.
Right.
They got out of Louisville to us. And when we heard on the radio there was possibly another system coming up from Carthage, we just abandoned everything
Right.
and jumped into vehicles. And we happened to get in to the vehicle with Phyllis and Stephanie Gillette, and it was almost like no questions asked, just come. So we literally lived at Phyllis and them's house for a month. Mm-hmm. At that time, we were able to get campers, and we got back to the farm.
And she was just a few streets away from
Yes,
town devastation.
Yes,
so,
she was in Baffinwood.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what so many people have talked about, myself included. Then you get back to your place, and that's where you concentrate there, and you don't really keep up with everybody else having the same problem for 30 miles.
Right.
It came all the way through
Right.
the county. So I'm learning a lot today and 10 years afterwards about what people went through afterwards when I didn't know, because
Yes.
we were all concentrating on our own. But that's
Yes.
a good community, and that's what family and friends are all about, Jim.
absolutely.
To get your farm up and going, I'm just curious. Charlie told us it took a year to the day to get his cattle and his poultry operation up to date or back in operation. What was it like how long did it take you to get y'all's poultry and beef cattle operation back in
Well,
production?
we had to set up temporary fencing because we had no fencing whatsoever, and honestly, I think the Good Shepherd was over our flock because they did not roam. They would come out and go into like a little valley at night and go back, to
like
their
old times,
yes. They would go back to their grazing spot during the day. Took them a while to cross ditches and things like that, but we had friends to come in and put up temporary fencing, and then a little later on we got NRCS, and we were able to then build our fence. We had
Close to 40 chicken houses out in that area got blown away that day.
It was.
So the chicken, I can't believe, as much as I love to eat chicken, and we must have had a shortage there for a while after that. I mean, so many people brought food, and I just can't remember now about whether
Probably
it was chicken or not.
chicken.
But I don't know. It's a lot of, but your chickens, you lost all of them, I'm sure.
No. It took the complete houses. We have layer houses. Mm-hmm. And it left, like I said, mine were very young, 24 weeks and 4 days. So it left a little 4-pound bird sitting there going, what happened?
Really? So we had different stories on that.
Yes.
Some all
So
died,
ours were alive. Our company came in and, did what they needed to do. And they told us that they would take care of the chicken houses if we, would focus
Right.
across at our homes and things like that.
Good.
So we started the process to get our loan in July. We signed our papers in December. They started building our chicken houses January 6th. So 13 months and 1 day
Wow.
we were back in production.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. So
Yes.
That's pretty close to what our
Yes.
other guests had.
Yeah.
Well, weather-wise, you guys going through something like that, I know it has to affect you. What words of wisdom would you give the listeners listening now and or 100 years if they're listening to us now?
Be watchful. Be prepared. Charge your phones. Charge.
That's one we hadn't heard.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. That's a good point. That's a good one, too.
There are times, depending on the weather or whatever, I'll do a go bag. Clarence and I both take medication, so you don't really want to be without that for days at a time. So, throw your medicine in a bag or whatever so you can get it, maybe a change of clothes. But just be weather aware and
that's smart because we can have a weather season pretty much, a
Yes.
tornado season, and it goes for several months. But, you could do that. You don't have to do it all, putting your medicine there all year long. But during the season, that's a great point. That and
Yes.
charging the phone. And probably, do you have a storm shelter now? Or
we do.
Okay.
Mama got a storm
Is it
shelter.
built out of oak? Did Clarence
No,
build it?
no, it's concrete.
Yeah.
You
But
put the table in this.
Exactly. Yeah. We would be set thin, but we do have a storm shelter now.
So you have more of a plan now.
Yes,
So you
yes.
listen to it. And y'all are volunteer firemen and
Yes.
very important to that fire department, so you know how preparation is.
Well, Brenda Gooden, thank you so much for coming in and sharing this with the Refuge on Air. And we hate Clarence bailed on us, but hey, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We appreciate all that you do in the farming community as well. So thank you so much, and what you've done for Extension and Cattlemen Association here. It's on another level because of you. Really, we thank you for that.
Thank you.